Do you like to color outside of the box? Me too. I love coloring outside of the box. So right off the bat, we've got something pretty cool in common. So then if we love coloring outside of the box so much, then why do we live our lives inside of that stupid box that is so small and limiting? That box, by the way, it's a series of lines that's drawn by other people that we've been sold to our entire lives, the conditioning of our environment, our culture, our society. So why do we live inside those lines? What are those lines? Let me share that with you. The lines are, and if we step outside of these lines, then we're ridiculed for it. We're criticized for it by the masses. But here's those lines. Those lines, the big ones are go to school so you can get good grades and get a high-paying job and get into a 401k pension or some other kind of retirement plan, build up a savings account, and spend the rest of your life working for a paycheck, building somebody else's dreams inside of somebody else's pyramid scheme, scam. Those are the basic lines, and you're living in those lines. Like 98 out of 100 of you are living in those lines. Even those of you who say, I don't live inside those lines drawn by other people. I'm my own person. I march to the beat of my own drum. All the while you're living inside of those lines, those exact lines. Why would you do that? Maybe you just don't know any better. I don't know. I didn't know any better. I always considered myself a unique person like everybody else. But till just a few years ago, I was living exactly in those lines. Nice, cushy job. I never did well in school, so I never did fit into that one. But everything else I was pretty much on par with. So how did I get out of that place? How did I get to this place where I don't need a job, so I don't have a job anymore? And how did I get to this place where I win really cool, like I'm going on a vacation here soon that was in the Caribbean Sea that I won. How did I get that? I don't think it's because I was smart or that I was particularly talented. I colored outside of the lines. So here's what I mean. When I was in school, I was in special education classes. I was struggling to get C's and D's in special ed classes. I was too dumb for the regular classes. So they put me in special ed and I struggled in that. It's just the way that it was. The only thing that is really special about me that I know of is I'm consistent and I always do what I say I'm going to do. Most people don't, especially a lot of people that say they do. They just don't. And there's really no gray area there. You either do or you don't. It's pretty black and white when it comes to when you say you're going to do something, you either do it or you don't. You're either consistent with something or you're not. When you say you're going to do something, you either see it through all the way or you don't. And typically when people don't do those things, they've got all kinds of rationale as to why they didn't. And that's nothing more than a big bad ego trip to protect their self-image from taking a blow. And self-image just ain't that important to protect, man. So I think at the root of it all, it's people's egos that keeps them where they're at and keeps people inside of those lines that are drawn by other people. All the while thinking you're somehow unique and different and special. In your core, you certainly are, but you just haven't tapped into it yet. But until you tap into your core, your true authentic self, which is totally amazing, spectacular, original, outside of the box of those lines that other people have drawn for you, when you tap into your true authentic self at your core, then you're going to be outside of those lines and you won't be living that lifestyle anymore. It's been drawn up by society's normalities and you won't give a flip if somebody ridicules you for it, because now suddenly other people inside of that box are uncomfortable with you growing and expanding. You know what I'm saying? I hope that makes a lot of sense to you. So you just got to be in love with learning. Love learning. Not in the box learning, outside of the box learning. And you got to love to criticize your own beliefs that you've held on to all these years that maybe you've defended. Like how getting a job is somehow intelligent. For the purpose of a paycheck, it's the dumbest thing anybody could ever possibly do. In fact, I think it's the most self-destructive thing and the most poverty-producing thing that exists on planet Earth, is this belief that it's good, smart, and even secure to get a job for the purpose of a paycheck. If you love a job, great. But if you're needy for it for a paycheck, then you're a slave. And you're inside that box, 100% inside of that box. And you don't own your time. But if you have a job you love, but you're outside of the box, and you got some other income from an asset that you own, that covers you, all of your expenses, then that job is zero neediness and 100% love. And that's when a job is cool. That's when you can say, I could have it, I could get rid of it, I'm covered, it's good. As for me, I got rid of it. I just don't like a job, that's all. I don't have any love for a job for me personally. But the point is to be free. And you're only going to be free if you get outside of that box consisting of lines drawn up by other people and they successfully sold it to you because that's what you're living inside of so far. But you don't have to. You can draw a line. You can learn stuff. I learned. I was not smart enough to be in regular classes, and I still struggled to get passing grades. I don't have any special talents or skills. I had no time. I had no income when I got started because I had no job. I couldn't even get unemployment. So I couldn't, I could have very easily used the same excuse everyone else uses. I have no time. I have no money. But I didn't. I fell in love with learning. Part of learning is going from statements to asking questions. So part of loving learning is going from, I don't have any time, I don't have any money, to what can I do to come up with more time? What can I do to come up with the funding that I need to get what I want? And then you open up the brain to a rich and creative process from a poor, lazy one. A poor, lazy one just makes statements. A poor, lazy brain makes statements so that you can just be lazy and you don't have to be on the search to even look for answers because you're just making statements about your scenario. But if you're asking questions like, how can I? What has to change inside of me so I can get the skills that I need, get the emotional maturity I need to get what I want, to get the more time, to get more freedom, to get more health, to improve my relationships with people, to whatever it happens to be. When you make that shift, you open your brain to a rich and creative mindset. Now you're on the search and you're going to find answers, man. You're going to turn up a lot of stuff that's, garbage, but it's the way to turning up things where you make discoveries. It's just the way that it is. It's kind of like a numbers game when you look at it that way. It's eminent when you make up your mind and you start going for answers, provided you see it through. Because you'll eventually find them, and you'll find what you're looking for, and you'll get more freedom, and you'll get more health, and financial freedom, and enlightened people, really enlightened people, make that connection between financial freedom and time freedom. Because it's never about the money. Money is a resource. It's the way there. And foolish people will have this negative energy attached to money. That's automatically where people inside of that box go when they hear of an opportunity to make really good money. People just go to, I don't need more money. It has nothing to do with happiness and blah, 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 blah. That's a really good social conditioning, isn't it? A lot of suckers fell for that one, man. This moral high ground. All the while, people taking that moral high ground make it easy for the criminals of the world to get too much control of the money supply and perpetuate things like poverty and human trafficking and children's sex slaverings. And those horrible things exist because a lot of otherwise good people have a negative attachment towards making really good money. So, the criminals of the world are more than happy to step in and make all that money instead, and perpetuate children's sex slaverings, human trafficking, factory farming, and out-of-control pharmaceutical, evil big business interests that profits by poisoning people or the planet in one way or another, because otherwise good people have a negative attachment towards money. So, man, that's a lot. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't say it to put anyone down, but to get you to open your mind a lot and start coloring outside of the box, not just by what you say and what you believe, but by what you're actually doing. Get out of that box of being needy for a paycheck from your job. It's a stupid, self-destructive place to be, and you don't have to stay there. You can draw a line in the sand and start making that transition, just as I did back in August of 2007. Me personally, it took me 2.5 years. I started an online business that my girlfriend at the time invited me into. But from the time that I enrolled and got started building that online business in my precious minutes of spare time, learning how to solve the time problem instead of making statements that I don't have time, learning how to solve the money problem instead of making statements, I have no income, I can't do anything. Learning instead of making statements. It took 2.5 years of that process to emerge in this place where I was, okay, I'm free. I have enough residual income now from this online business to where I don't need a job anymore. I've got all this new free time now because of that, and I can spend my time on what's important to me without worrying about how bills are going to be paid or where my security and nourishment and food is going to come from and all these other things. That's in the past now. And that happened in February of 2010 from when I enrolled in August of 2007. So be inspired by that. If I can do it, I mean, really, I'm the epitome of if I can do it, you can do it. And if you're interested in working with me, because I teach what I did, first you have to be in love with learning and coloring outside of the box, because it's an online business. And social conditioning has told you that online home businesses are pyramid schemes. All the while your job is a pyramid scheme, because the only people making all the money are the people at the top, right? They make the bulk of the money, whatever company you work for, it doesn't matter. It's the people at the top, small group of people, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, make the bulk of the money. As you go further down the chain of command, the pay gets smaller and smaller. Sounds like a pyramid scheme. I have people that have enrolled years after I did who are out earning me. Not possible in a pyramid scheme. This is the opposite of a pyramid scheme. This is fair. This is fair. This is not the pyramid scheme. So color outside of that box of average thinking. Don't let people tell you that a home business, online business is a pyramid scheme. Your job is the pyramid scheme. In the context of how you get paid, how you get financially compensated, your job absolutely, there's no gray area there. It's a classic prima facie pyramid scheme. This is the opposite of that. So don't get sold that box to live inside of, because that's a really small, limiting box. It will destroy you and your ability to create any freedom for yourself to believe that kind of nonsense that an online business is a scheme or a scam, all the while you're working in what is financially this biggest pyramid scheme ever devised, ever pitted against mankind. That is the value of the dollar that you sell your time for. Nonsense. So I love learning, love living outside of the box. And if you're interested in working with me, get a hold of me. We'll have that conversation. I'll show you some stuff. You can ask me anything you want to ask me. And if I can help you color outside of the box with your own colors, whatever your authentic colors are, then we will do it. And we'll have a lot of fun doing it too, okay? If I did it, you can do it. I've been there, done that. I'm free. I know the way. And I've mapped it out so that anybody else can duplicate it. When somebody starts working with me for real, I've got this system that I've created from exactly what I did that you'll be able to plug into the day of, like immediately it's there. And I'll be there to help you every step of the way. So long as you show up. So long as you show up, I'll be there to help you every step of the way. And whether you got a few minutes a day, an hour a day, it doesn't matter. It's at your own pace, your pace. Just show up every day and we'll get it done. Talk to you later. And my website, it's fireyourboss.xyz. Isn't that a great name? I thought you would like it. Fireyourboss.xyz, not .com. Don't go to .com. That's different. .xyz. Fireyourboss.xyz. And if you made it to the end of this 13-minute video, I'd be tickled if you let me know. That would be something. I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.